Welcome to the Trailer Cast with Elise Snipes. Each week, I will be sharing with you from inside my vintage trailer where I work as a therapist and share some of my musings on the human experience. I am endlessly fascinated and inspired by people. I love being a therapist and am deeply grateful for the intimate and beautiful work I get to do. I believe we are wildly capable of healing and making this world a better place, and this is my attempt at doing that. Sharing beauty to invoke beauty. May you find yourself inside these stories and ponderings and be better for it. Cheers. This episode is coming to you from Big Bear. This week was a wild one for me. Two things happened which felt like they were in just direct opposition to each other. There was absolute insanity at work, which made me feel like I should probably stay home and work through the weekend. And then we had this family trip to the snow, which we'd really been looking forward to. So background to the saga is I took a new job in September this year. So in addition to being a therapist, I'm also the clinical director for a substance abuse facility that treats drug and alcohol addiction. And quick tangent on that, I started working in the field of addiction about a year ago, and I wasn't totally sure what it was going to be like. But I like challenges and new things and jumping, and so I just went for it. In the back of my mind, I knew that I knew how to work with brokenness, and so I could do that. What I didn't expect was the bravery. Every week, I am absolutely undone by the people that are entering treatment to save their lives. They are fearless and raw and in it. And side note, if you have people in your life that are stuck in addiction, it is a subtle and seductive beast. It is greedy and unrelenting in its pursuit. There is good treatment available, so reach out if you want more information. Okay? Back into this transition with work, I have found that I am really pulled more than ever in new directions and roles than I've had to face before. Obviously still being a wife and mom. And so I've been trying to be intentional in upholding the boundary between work and life. And so this particular clashing and timing this week, I felt anxious and like I was going to make the wrong choice no matter what I chose. I felt torn and like I wanted to be present at home for everything going on with work. And then I also wanted to take my family on this snowy adventure. Obviously, we went because we're here, but this idea of juggling roles and the idea of time have been at the forefront of my mind. What eventually tipped the scales for me was thinking about seasons and Sabbath, rhythms and rest. It's January, so for most places in the Northern Hemisphere, we're in winter. For us Southern California beach people, nothing much changes all year. Not complaining, just letting you know why going to Big Bear is such a big deal for us. We're literally on our way up the mountain, and we showed the kids like the first signs of snow. And Isaac, our oldest son, was sure to let us know that there's absolutely no way that is snow. It is for sure soap, and it must have fallen out of the back of a soap truck. So we are planning more trips out of Orange County for our children this year. It is also probably a good moment to disclose that we are beach people through and through, like sand and saltwater people. We haven't lived well if there isn't sand in our sheets, okay? So that's what kind of beach people we are. So getting into this totally different element, it has awakened something within us. Everything is new, everything is awesome. It makes us like look around at everything and wonder at everything because it's novel to us. We've seen squirrels, we're looking at pine cones, and you'll never believe what we saw at nighttime. Stars. Yeah, tons of them in the sky, right? You know what else happens when you take beach people out of their element? We become tourists, and I mean like touristy tourists, big ones, and it has been glorious. We seriously have been geeking out all weekend, totally shamelessly, all of us. I saw horses in the street and about half lost my mind. I was so excited. Strangers were turning to look at me, and I'm like, horses in the street. What is happening? This weekend has been the most wonderful time for us to just enter in, to marvel, to wonder. It's been like this magical time stop, a space vortex in between our normal routines. We literally left one season and entered another, and it has created this sense of contemplation. I mean, even our kids were full of questions about where we were, climate and mountains and snow, and shout out to Siri for answering those for us because we were also lost. But they noticed that we were in a different place, that it felt different and it looked different, and it requires you to see it. It asks that you enter into it, that you snow angel in it. And this idea of season speaks to my soul. I stop and I think, and I was wondering about how the earth survives in seasons and how that might be a parallel for us as humans. How brisk fall, the earth slowly shutting down, enters winter, this season of barrenness, even death, met by spring, flowers, and the relief, turning to summer, endless sunshine, and then again dipping into the crisp, crunchy leaves of fall. Seasons, cycles, birth, death, rebirth. These are familiar themes for us as people. Our own seasons of cold, hopelessness, yearning to be met with sweetness, of something else, anything else. Sometimes our winters last longer than we would like. Sometimes we're tormented by the questions that emerge when we are in dark seasons. If you are there now in winter, it will not last forever. Spring always comes, even for you. And sometimes we have been in seasons of endless summer. And you know what? Don't feel bad for that. We need you too. If we are in our own personal darkness, seeing your summer is a reminder that good still exists, that there are places where sunshine happens. We are an interdependent, enduring, sharing, learning, cycling group of people, and we need each other as signposts for our journey. So with this idea of seasons and as someone lacking actual seasons, I find this need to create spaces or moments, these thresholds that allow me the same opportunity for reflection. Creating meaningful space is really important to me. Even as I was putting together the details of the trailer, I considered every spot and what people would experience as they entered in. I wanted to communicate something with what people experienced, what they saw. I wanted to think about what they noticed, how they'd feel. I wanted to make them comfortable. I wanted to set up a place that really lends itself to the therapeutic experience, to make it feel seamless and easy to enter into. I think about space in this way, of what it holds. When I first got my driver's license, the first place I drove to was the beach, and it became my routine, my refuge. I would get on autopilot anytime I needed space that was my own, or just to go somewhere to just be or cry, where my saltwater tears can meet saltwater ocean. I used to love to think about this cycle of water, that maybe I was returning these drops home. And it's funny because years later, I found this beautiful piece of art with a Rumi quote on it, and it says, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." I love that, obviously, and so now it's hanging in the trailer. And this trailer has become this mobile space that I still park by the beach, a container for expression, releasing, returning to self. When we were just beginning to grow our family and I was at home more than I ever thought possible, I realized that I needed to make a space like this that was more accessible to me and that didn't depend on nap times or perfect children. We used to have a bay window in our bedroom, and I was going through a super funky season of gray. Baby blues, babies 15 months apart, this messy loss of identity, and I needed something bright and bold and sunshiny. So my husband walks through the door from work, and I'm sure I have this crazed look in my eyes. I just walked right on by him, told him I'd be back in a flash. I went to Lowe's, and after sitting in the parking lot alone to elongate my trip, I went in and I bought the brightest shade of mango paint on the shelf that has probably ever been made. I went home and I took care of business. When it dried, I set up this little spot. I sewed pillows. I did the whole thing. I got this cool little basket. I put my journal in there, pens and books, so that they would always be ready to receive me and my tumbling out thoughts. For that season, that sunshine bench was a place I went to for reflection, to release emotion, thoughts, poems, and, of course, tears. I needed this space to exist so that during the day, if I was feeling whatever I was going through, I still knew that this spot was there for me. I've since forfeited this bench, but not the practice of honoring the threshold, the space between here and there. After we had our second baby, we were bursting at the seams in our home. Judah literally slept in a tent in the living room. So there are stories about that for another time, but I needed a threshold space more than ever, but we had no space. And so I literally would consider the actual door jambs in our home as this idea of threshold for me. And as I would pass through them, I would kind of put my hand on the door jamb and just pause and just take a deep breath and acknowledge that these moments are different. This is not just an unending series of moments bleeding into the next. That I am coming from somewhere, that I am going to somewhere. I needed to see that there was a break, And it doesn't need to be a big space. If you're listening, you're thinking, well, I don't have a bay window. I don't have a room. I don't have that. You've got a door jamb. You might just have a space in your house that already exists that you can identify to let it be a symbol for you. Paint it, tape something to it, get a candle and put it there, write something on the wall. Identify that there is some place that you can look that tells you that you're going to make it. My current threshold landing place is this bench at our front door. It's the bench my husband proposed to me at, so it holds a lot of special meaning for me. But particularly because I'm in this stretched out season, when I'm coming home from work, I stop there before I go in to just unload anything I need so I can enter my home and meet my family as wife and mom, not employee or therapist. And I'm going to tell you that there are some days I have to sit there a long time because there are a lot of things I need to shake off. Some stories that are harder than others, just experiences, stuff, right? That connects to us, but I don't, that's for me, to deal with. And so I want to, because I really want to honor the time and space I have with my family. And some days I merely run my fingers over the old wood as a nod of appreciation for being a place that has received me so many times before. But I still need it. I need to look at it. I need to remember that threshold is important for us, right? We need them like seasons, like wonderful, marvelous breaths that the earth takes to help us stop and start again. And this weekend is that. It's been this own stopping, this own type of threshold for our family. When you're on vacation, you can kind of get loose. There isn't anything regular you have to do, so you can just get whimsy, impulsive, a fly by the seat of your pants kind of way, let's find the next fun thing kind of way, buy too much ice cream and Skittles and, sugar high kind of weekend. But we wanted to do it all with our kids this weekend. We took them on these rad toboggan sled things. We went inner tubing and wandering and rope swinging and pine cone hunting. We made snowballs and watched squirrels. We went blacklight bowling. They saw constellations. I don't know. We were here. And I love to watch my family when they are out of their normal spaces. I like to see how they approach new things, to see who's daring, who's observant, who relaxes, who gets stir crazy. It's good for us to step out, to stop for a minute and just be. Honestly, I needed this weekend a way to be reminded of how glorious and inspiring our world is. We need Saturdays and Sundays because we have Mondays every week. And so take advantage of the natural time threshold that weekends give you so that when Monday comes, as it always does, you'll be ready to take it on like a boss. So I'm wondering, where are you in all of this? And it's okay. Wherever you are. What season are you in the middle of? Is there anything you need to be reminded of so that you can keep going? What do you think about your rhythm of life? Are you rushed, hurried, missing the novelty of what is right in front of you? How can you slow down, enter in, maybe pay attention to where you're most stressed? Can you create a threshold space there? Something to remind you that you are a human being, not a human doing. And sometimes you need to just breathe and take it all in and hold the present moment as the gift that it is. I hope that for you this week. May you be inspired to create space in your life that allows you to breathe, to look up, to see it all, to hold it all, to say yes to what is good, to make space for wonder. Thanks for listening. To connect with me, suggest a topic for the show, or ask a question from your own life you would like to have answered, email me at elise@trailercast.com, ELYSE@trailercast.com. You can also see more on the Trailercast website or follow me on Instagram @trailercast, where you can watch the renovation of my vintage mobile office and see more from behind the scenes. Remember, you can subscribe on iTunes and tell your friends.